For me, regrets have always been harder to live with than consequences. Mic drop. That line made me wonder if I had been taught to fear the wrong things. Hi, everyone. The hardest decisions in life don't come with instructions. They come with opinions, expectations, and a whole lot of unsolicited advice. This is Unpopular Decisions, where we're talking about what it really takes to choose differently, even when it's not popular. I'm your host, Jameelah Calhoun. Before we dive into other people's stories, I wanted to share more about why this conversation matters to me so much. Unpopular Decisions didn't start as a podcast idea. It started with a decision, one where I felt like I didn't have the blueprint to make it, and my go-to frameworks just weren't cutting it. I was in a job that was draining me, and from the outside, everything looked fine. But inside, I was weighed down by guilt, by responsibility to my team, and by the fear of what leaving might say about me. Like a lot of high achievers and overthinkers, I kept asking myself the responsible questions. What will people think? What if I'm wrong? What if I don't find a new job? And again, what will people think? But it wasn't until I was watching season 3 finale of Abbott Elementary, Mr. Johnson, the school custodian and unexpected philosopher, said something that stopped me in my tracks. He says, "For me, regrets have always been harder to live with than consequences." Mic drop. That line reframed everything for me. It made me wonder if I had been taught to fear the wrong things. Instead of asking myself if I could live with the consequences of leaving, I started to ask myself whether I could live with the regrets of staying. 1 week later, I left that job. And it marked the beginning of something truer, a return to my values and a reconnection with my purpose. I've faced moments like that many times throughout my life. I'm the daughter of an immigrant, an eldest daughter, a Black woman. I've often been the first or the only navigating decisions that no one around me had experience with, or that defied the expectations or responsibility I felt to represent my community in a particular way. Getting married at 24, divorced at 27, pivoting my career multiple times, taking career breaks. You get the idea. Each of those moments came with doubt, with questions no one could answer for me, and with the loneliness of feeling misunderstood. For a long time, I didn't talk about the messy middle. I waited until I could emerge on the other side with a clean, gift-wrapped story and a clear sense of what's next. What made those moments the hardest, though, wasn't the uncertainty. It was feeling like everybody else had a script or a blueprint that I never got. And I saw this pattern in my friends, too. They would come to brunch to announce that they'd accepted a new job after months of burnout they carried quietly, or that they'd filed for divorce after years of stress they'd never opened up about. It made me wonder how much of the disconnection we see across our society is simply our fear of the imperfect journey and our fear that our choices will be judged. Keeping it quiet means that we're left ill-equipped and alone in some of the most stressful and consequential moments of our lives. We rarely hear about the part of decisions that actually matters, the part before you know how it'll turn out, the part where your community or even strangers start to push back, or the part where you have to defend a choice that you're still not even sure about. That's the gap this show exists to fill. Unpopular Decisions is a podcast and platform about the moment before the outcome, especially in a world obsessed with optics, performance, and curated reels. Not the polished PR-approved story, but the crossroads, because courage multiplies when it's witnessed. Each episode, I sit down with leaders, creators, and everyday people like you and me to talk about the decision itself, what they were afraid of, what it cost them socially, emotionally, and sometimes financially, and what changed once they chose themselves, even when approval wasn't guaranteed to come on the other side. This isn't a success podcast. This is a human one. Real people, bold choices, big transformation. If you're listening and you're sitting with a decision that isn't popular, obvious, or understood, I want you to know that you're not alone. Find and follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts, and I'm really glad that you're here.